We're going to, I think, transition into talking a little bit about registration. One thing I do want to say for those of you who are returning teachers, I'm going to say this so you don't throw tomatoes at Cyndee, is that this summer we had to clean the whole system out. So you as teachers will have to register. And we have a lot of fun things to give to you, so we're not going to have you all jump and leave right away. But what we do have to share with you today, we do have a Connecticut History Contest Guide, which talks a little bit about registration and how to do that. And then this is a list of, this is what we call the registration form, and it basically tells you what needs to be asked. So you can have these so that you can prep your students to come to school with everything that they need, so that you're not stuck there like, you know, like, I didn't ask them that. But I did want to just say that for this year, a couple of kind of important pieces of information. So you, the teachers, will have to re-register. We had to do that because, you know, with the system, we had to go through some system maintenance. You, as teachers, can go ahead and do that already. The registration for students will open on November the 15th. And I did want to say a couple things about the contest this year. We are planning on being in person. And yay! Like we did in pre-COVID times. Can you raise your hand if you did contests? Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you. Who had students participate in the contest in pre-COVID times? Okay. So you've been in person with us. So to some of you, this will be like, what is she talking about? But in pre-COVID times, and what we're instituting this year is that we have our contest dates, and about a little over 2 weeks before the actual contest, we will have a deadline. I think it's Thursdays, because that gives us a day to like chase after everyone who hasn't turned them in. Our deadline is for newspapers and websites. Those are due, completed on that day, and at that point, we will lock those websites. We will lock the papers. Students cannot make changes. They can't make changes to their bibliography, not to the paper itself, not to the process paper. One thing that's new for those of you who've been with us prior to COVID is that the process paper and the bibliographies will be due on that same day for exhibits, performances, and documentaries. Now, the project itself is due the day of the contest. We know that students in that 2-week period are probably, if they're still working on their project, they may be adding like, oh my gosh, I just found this awesome source, I'm going to add it. So if you're thinking, oh no, now they can't, don't be alarmed. All you have to do, or all the students have to do, is they will need to bring in every category, 2 copies of their process paper and bibliography. If they are in exhibits, performances, documentaries, and they have made changes to those documents between what they uploaded and what they bring to the contest, all they have to do is highlight the changes in it. The reason why we're asking for those documents beforehand is because we're trying to balance the needs of a lot of different audiences, and judges have enjoyed getting a chance to see that paperwork earlier. We want to give students as much time as possible to do their projects, but what we want to do is give judges a little bit of an introduction to the topics they'll be looking at. So they'll have some time to be able to look at the paperwork, to look at what kind of research did the students do, you know, talking about the process. So they'll be able to come in with a better knowledge of the projects they're going to see, and, you know, with hopefully questions that they're going to ask. I know, speaking from my own personal experience, when you're judging and you're handed that, that's a lot to look through. So I know when I judge at nationals, I'm going to enjoy having a chance to actually take some time and really go over that, and then you're kind of prepped for seeing the project. Now, I know some people would prefer we upload everything, that some judges would love to have all the documentaries uploaded and everything. But being in person, there are pros and cons to everything. And being in person, we do our contests in one day. And so we have a time constraint. So this is kind of the way that we will be handling contests for this year. not to say it might not change in future years, but just to kind of let you know what our expectations are. And I have not yet memorized all of the contest dates and deadlines, because I still have a little time for that. But all of our regional contests will take place on Saturdays in March. And, you know, we do assign towns to contests, but you know what, if you have a problem, we already had this in Fairfield, where one of the schools, bingo, the contest day is in the middle of their spring break. We will let them go to another, you know, like, we're pretty flexible in terms of, you know, we're going to work with you if you have an issue for why you can't attend the contest that you're assigned to. You just need to contact me and we'll have a conversation and, you know, and do that. The reason why we do assign schools, you know, towns to certain contests is when we started, what we found in previous years is that everybody wanted to sign up for the last contest to have as much time. So that's a way of preventing it. But anyway, yes?
Oh, when are those dates going to be released?
They've already been released. You should be getting twice a month e-blasts from us.
And they're on the website.
Yeah, and they're on the website too, yeah. So we do have some cases, if you are not getting a twice a month e-blast from us, please contact me and let me know. There are some schools that have very strong firewalls that are blocking constant contact. So, and actually in the guide is also, we have on the very front page.
Okay, so just take one, pass them down. That would be
And so that's the only introduction I wanted to give to everyone, to kind of give you context for going ahead. You know, one thing that has struck me as we're talking, you know, who knows what the spring will be like, but we will handle illness like we do in any other cases. If somebody in the first round of contests, our first weekend, you know, they're really sick, they've got pneumonia, they can't come, of course, we're going to let them go to a later contest. That's what we've always done. The challenge is if it's the very last contest, then we don't have a lot of options. And that's always been the case because, you know what, kids get sick, things happen. So, but we will try to be as flexible as possible. So with that, I'm going to let Cyndee, and she's going to be doing a video for folks in a little bit. You know, not today, but we will have something online that we'll share. But she's done a great job with these slides. So if you are new or you need help with Z-Fairs, prepare to learn.
Well, we'll see about that. But okay, so what I wanted to try to do, and I know we're all getting restless and some of you are thinking it's kind of getting close to time to beat traffic, but if you have a computer, Chromebook, whatever with you, and you would like to go ahead and do your teacher registration right now, we can walk through that, okay? Student registration will not open until November 15th, but you can register yourself today if you'd like. If not, you'll have the instructions in our Google folder that you can walk through after this presentation, and we can go ahead and get you guys all squared away. So
there's still going to be an option in there where they could consider like payment is coming from the school.
yes, and we're going to talk about that. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I went to the next thing. That's all right. I'm trying to do this from a PDF because this file was really big and Google Drive did not like it as a PowerPoint. Okay, so if you are going to register today, or if you're looking to do this at another time, the very first place you are going to go is to the Connecticut History Day website, which is historydayct.org. Click on contests and then contest registration, and that will take you to this page. On this page, you will find a link to download the 2023 contest guide, which is that item that was just passed around. Okay? I highly recommend not only that you read it, but that you read it with your students before they sit down to do anything that has to do with registration, so that they understand what they're doing. Okay? You need to look at the map and figure out which region you're in, and we are asking that if register in the region that your town is located. If for some reason you have a conflict and you have to talk to Rebecca about scheduling for a different contest, once you've agreed on that between the two of you, then she'll let you know which region you would also then have to register in that particular region. But we have to make sure that we're getting you into the correct region for where your town is located. At the bottom of the page will be the links to access the contests for the different regions. And you'll pick the link for whichever region you're registering in, okay? For the teacher registration, and we already mentioned this, because we had to do some system maintenance with ZFairs over the summer, we had to wipe everything out of the system. So if you are a previous History Day teacher, you will have to create a new account. You could use the same login information that you used to use. It's just that you have to re-register. You have to do this before your students can register. So it's a good idea to do this in this next week before they do, in case you have an issue and that we need to help you with something, that you can go ahead and do that. All right, so once you've selected the regional contest that you are registering for, and you click on that link, it's going to take you to a home page. It's going to look just like this. And this one happens to be the Mansfield contest. That's my region. And you are going to, everybody is going to start where it says create account. Okay? So you'll type in your first name, your last name, and an email address. Okay? You need to make sure, and I'll tell you this, I'll repeat it when we talk about the student registration. You have to have access to that email in order to complete the registration. Okay? So if you're using your school email, there's a chance that this may get stuck in a firewall. That happens frequently, and we have teachers that say, I can't get my confirmation email. So if it happens, you can try an alternate email. If you have a personal email or something, you may need to look in your spam filter or contact your tech people to have them include ZFairs. I think they call it whitewashing. So that may be something that you'll need to do, okay? Once you've put in your first name, your last name, and your email, you're going to click the button that says Create Account. And it's going to ask you, it will start to create things for you. It's going to automatically generate a username, which is your first name and last name together. I recommend just leaving it at that, unless you want to go in and change it later, but for me, it's just easier to leave it as it is. You'll put in, it's going to confirm your email, and then you're selecting teacher. Okay, right now, the only things available are teacher, judge, and volunteer. After November 15th, student will also appear in that list. Okay, but right now, it's just for the teachers. Once you do that, it's gonna give you a window that says verify email address. So ZFairs will have sent you a confirmation email. I would leave that tab, that ZFairs tab, open until you get the confirmation email, just in case you need to click the resend email button. You'll get a confirmation email, and then there's a link in that email that you'll click on to continue doing your registration. Okay. Are you guys with me? Am I going too fast?
Just something you might want to check into. When I clicked on the Torrington one, it redirected me to Hartford.
Oh, so that link is not good. Okay, we'll make sure we get that fixed.
We'll fix that.
We'll fix that. Okay,
Thank you.
good. Yeah,
Exactly,
that's
better
good.
now.
Yeah, we appreciate that kind of.
We just,
Stop registering. Don't even
One
keep
more
going.
thing for Rebecca, I'm coming into the problem now. It's not letting me find my school on your drop-down list, or
Oh.
you're in my school.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because you're a private school.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can add it to you.
Okay.
Or add it for you.
All right,
Yeah.
so once you start your registration, now it's going to ask you more information about you. It's going to ask whether or not you're attending the contest. We hope you all come. Obviously, we want you all there because it's really great not only to watch your own students participate, but you get to see other projects, and that's another way to learn, and maybe you want to judge, I don't know, but
And yes, teachers can judge.
Yes.
We have you judge in a category where your students are not taking part. And actually, I'm looking at Mark, thinking about all the years you judged for us prior to the middle school coming on board. But it's a great way, I think, of learning about the program. And actually, I'm thinking of you and Regina, who judged for years, and then, you know, it really helped you learn about the program.
it sure did. So if you happen to work at more than one school, when you're on the screen where you're putting in your school information, you can add as many schools as you need to cover the students that you're in. And if it happens that your school is not showing up in the list, just let us know and we'll make sure to get it added, okay? There are three required questions for teachers, and they're pretty quick. How many years have you, as a teacher, been involved with Connecticut History Day? Some of you may have done it as a student, or maybe you did it as a judge before you did it as a teacher. So we want to know how long you've been doing it as a teacher. How many students participated in History Day in your classroom? This does not have to include only the students who are going to contest. We want to know how many students participated in the program, okay? So completed a History Day project, even if they decided not to attend a contest. That's the number that we're targeting there, okay? What are some reasons you encourage students to participate in History Day? Okay, so we're just looking for your ideas there. And then the last question has to do with accommodations that are needed for any of your students. It's not a required question. So if you do have a student who has an accommodation, whether it's, you know, in any aspect that they need us to address at contest, please let us know in that space. I mean, obviously we'll keep things as confidential as we can. The permission and waivers page has to do more with publicity and us being able to use your pictures with you in it or different things like that. So answer those questions in there. And then you're going to click that Save and Continue button. Once you have created an account, at that point, you're going to get both a confirmation screen from ZFairs that says that your account's been created, and you're going to get a confirmation email, okay? That's when you know that your account is all set as a teacher. I recommend that you go back and try your login. Make sure that your username and your password works, okay? Once you have that all set, then your students can register. But you have to be in the system first, okay? Any questions about teacher registration? This one's pretty simple, just to get you set up.
And I just wanted to add, the reason why we're asking for the number of projects, or excuse me, the number of students in your classroom, and that's, as Cyndee said, it's not just the kids going to the contest, it's the kids who work on a project, is because that's the most important number. What we find pre-COVID is we had upwards of 4,000 kids participating in History Day, and of those, maybe 1,500 would go to the contest, or one of the regional contests. But it's important for us to have that number so that we can represent to the people who support us what the reach of the program is. So, we really appreciate you, letting us know that information because it is really helpful in our fundraising and just in knowing how we're doing in terms of the program and where we need to work on outreach.
All right, so coming around the room is a hard copy of all of the information that students need to have in order to complete their registration. I came up with this probably the first year, second year we were using ZFairs for my students that I work with in Vernon. Because I wanted to make sure when we sat down to start working on registrations that my kids had all the information they needed and didn't have to start, oh, I don't have that, I can't do this today. So use this as an organizational tool, okay? Have them fill it out ahead of time. The waivers are